Hi, I'm Carol Andrews for another episode of Southwest TV News. Here are some of the stories we've been working on for today's show. JayDee AgTech is a leader in the agricultural industry and continues down a path of success with a recent business deal with the Jim Pattison Group. Over the past year, pre-K through grade 9 students across the province read a selection of 30 books by Canadian authors and voted on their 3 favorites, which were awarded at a special gala presentation at the Lyric Theatre. A year-long celebration is underway at Central School in Swift Current as this historic educational institution celebrates 100 years. Thanks for joining us here today. JayDee AgTech, based out of Swift Current, has signed a major deal with a key player in the business world. We have more in today's top story. JayDee AgTech is a leader in the agricultural industry and continues down a path of success with a recent business deal with the Jim Pattison Group. Following a series of meetings between the JayDee AgTech partners and the Pattison Group, a deal was reached for the national firm to buy the Swift Current-owned company. An overall move which CEO Dwayne Smith says they weren't really planning to pursue for at least another 10 years until this opportunity came along.
Yeah, the business is doing great. We're very thankful, how the business has grown to where it is, and we're, the staff that have worked with us, the customers that have been with us along there, but we've also grown it to a state now that you say at a point in time when you go to exit, who's there to buy? And secondly, who will John Deere approve to purchase it? So along comes an opportunity here where you have someone that is capable of buying it. You've got someone that John Deere is happy to partner with in the future. So you evaluate all of that, is the timing right? In addition to, they want us to remain on with them to continue to lead the company. So, we're still able to be engaged. We're still able to carry out, our strategic vision. So we kind of get the best of both worlds.
Smith further adds he felt the corporate culture of both companies were aligned and would be a positive move for JayDee AgTech as a whole.
I felt that there was a good fit of how they look after their staff, how the staff's involved, how the autonomy of the management remains, how customers are looked after, and there was a really good fit to our culture, our way of doing business, how our staff like things done, and that's what gave us a good comfort level going forward there.
And from the standpoint of the Jim Pattison Group, which is already involved in a range of business sectors from automotive, media, entertainment, forestry to the food and beverage industry, CEO Jim Pattison says the Swift Current deal brings him back to his Saskatchewan roots.
My family both came involved in being homesteaders in Saskatchewan, and of course our interest is Western Canada as a focus, and to get involved with John Deere and Saskatchewan, and the opportunity to help grow the business with the opportunities around the world today for food and the need for food and the kind of things that people in Saskatchewan and Western Canada provide to the world. We thought that this is a business we have not been in and wanted to be part of the growth of that. And we very much like John Deere as a manufacturer, and so that's the reason we're here to join in and help this company to develop and grow over time.
And with the transaction now complete with the Pattison Group, it will be business as usual across JayDee AgTech's 9 locations in Saskatchewan, with no changes for the 200 staff, and all management, including Dwayne Smith, staying on board. The Jim Pattison Group currently records $8.1 billion in sales, with 36,000 employees across over 500 locations in Canada. Swift Current played host to a number of top Canadian authors with the Annual Willow Awards. We have more in this report. The 2014 Willow Awards were recently hosted in Swift Current by St. Patrick's School. Over the past year, pre-K through grade 9 students across the province read a selection of 30 books by Canadian authors and voted on their 3 favorites, which were awarded at a special gala presentation at the Lyric Theatre. The gala included a series of on-screen presentations of the nominated books, on-stage performances, and speeches by acclaimed Canadian authors and poets. An overall showcase which St. Pat's School was pleased to host this year.
These are world-renowned authors. They have a reputation that extends across the globe. And so it's pretty exciting to have them actually in our school, talking to our students, and for students to see that literacy can be a lifelong pursuit.
Students across the city were also treated to guest author readings at St. Pat's and St. Joe's schools. Martin Springett is a well-known illustrator from Toronto and stopped by St. Pat's School for a special reading of his Willow Award-winning book, Kate and Pippin. Students listened to the true heartwarming story of his sister's dog, Kate, and a fawn named Pippin, who met on Vancouver Island and still remain friends today, 5 years later. He also treated the students to an acoustic version of his song, The Dragon, and gave an example of his illustrative talents through a series of caricatures on paper. Talents which Springett has honed over the years through his illustrations in numerous books and record album covers.
You know, no matter what the audience, you're after a similar effect, which is to connect. And so I find I'm lucky enough to do the stuff that interests me. And if I'm interested and I have fun, no matter what the age group, then, you know, they'll likely have fun too. The whole idea of, you know, the success of a book, that's something you can never be sure of. You never know what a book will do. But if I'm having fun with the work, then usually someone else has fun when they look at it.
Vast creativity and imagination which comes to life through the pages of various children's books, which all the authors agree promote lifelong literacy and advantages in reaching long-term goals.
Reading, it's so important because it expands our horizons. It allows us to see the world from another person's perspective. It opens up worlds that we wouldn't have known about otherwise. It fuels the imagination, and I think imagination is so important for young people.
The 2014 Willow Award winners included Kate and Pippin by Martin Springett, Peter Nimble and His Fantastic Eyes by Jonathan Auxier, and The Reluctant Journal of Henry B. Larson, written by Susan Nielsen. The Willow Awards are hosted each year across Saskatchewan, honoring Canadian authors while promoting literacy in youth. "2014 marks Central School's centennial year, and 2 famous alumni were recently in Swift Current for a special presentation. A year-long celebration is underway at Central School in Swift Current, as this historic educational institution celebrates 100 years. Recently, students and staff planted a commemorative birch tree on the front lawn to mark the centennial. Throughout the hallways of Central School are various photographs and other displays spotlighting the school's history over the years, including this photo of the grade 8 graduating class of 1962. 2 of these graduating class members came back to speak to the current students of Central School. Famous Canadian poet Lorna Crozier and former Saskatchewan Lieutenant Governor Dr. Linda Haverstock recalled fond memories of growing up in Swift Current, adventures they embarked on while attending Central School for grades 1 through 8, and how their friendship has spanned over 60 years. Crozier, who now lives on Vancouver Island, has received numerous awards for her poetry and has visited every continent except Antarctica, and says Swift Current will always be her home.
Most of my images that I use in my poems and my writing are centered here, come from here. So I know some psychologist has said that the first years of your life, whether it's the first 4 years or the first 8 or the first 10, are where you really develop the character that you are and will become, and where you develop your sense of what the world is. So my sense of what the world is a town where you can see the end of it, almost standing anywhere in the middle of it. You can get to the country so quickly. The sky is huge and full of wonders, and that's in my mind when I put my pen on paper and begin to write.
Haverstock also shared great stories of her childhood years at Central School, while stressing that her education and dedicated teachers along the way helped her in achieving many goals she never had dreamed of. including the provincial Liberal Party leadership and the role of Lieutenant Governor of Saskatchewan, all stemming from humble beginnings on a course for lifelong learning and success, which she hopes the youth of today will also strive for.
Whatever we think we're going to be when we grow up is not where the journey takes us. I mean, I quite honestly never would have been even able to fathom the experiences that I've had in my life. I never dreamt of getting a PhD, for example, or receiving honorary doctorates, or being invited different places in the world. That was beyond my imagining. So I guess I want for children to know that even what they consider their big dreams are likely going to limit them in some way.
The celebration of Central School's Centennial will continue with a public open house during Swift Current's homecoming weekend, with Central School open June 28th and 29th throughout the afternoon, offering a variety of displays and a chance to walk down memory lane. Well, this brings to a close another episode of Southwest TV News, reporting the stories that matter to you. We always welcome your news tips. You can always reach us here by phone at our studio or by email to contact us at southwesttvnews.com. Also, be sure to join us daily online for the latest news from across Southwest Saskatchewan and so much more at MyLocalTV.ca. And be sure to follow us along on a range of social media. Thanks for joining us here today. I'm Carol Andrews.